Welcome back to your final chapter of the Children's Mindfulness and Meditation Teacher Certification Training. In this video, we will focus on health and well-being for teenage children. We will seek to answer the question, what do our teens need, and how can we use mindfulness and meditation techniques to help them with these needs? Our teens need help getting comfortable with the awkwardness and discomfort of puberty as they transition into adulthood. This is a very trying time for our youth. This is the age group that really benefits from mindfulness and meditation techniques. And it is important that we, as their teacher, understand their needs so we can share some of the effective life skills to help them through this stage. Let us begin to understand our teens. Physical shifts are happening at a rapid pace. Boys are finding their voices getting more manly. Girls are developing their womanly bodies to feed our future children. Boys and girls are finding hair growing where there was none before. Both are discovering their sexuality. That is this feeling of sexual arousal or attraction that was not there when they were children, or at least not as strong. Also, acne caused by rapid hormone changes and diet is awkward. We, as their mindfulness meditation teacher, can help them become more comfortable with these changes by normalizing them with our mindful awareness techniques so that they can get to explore and get comfortable and learn to accept their physical and emotional self. Then instead of being afraid or ashamed of the shift into adulthood, it can become a wow thing, an adventure of awe and wonder. Here are some questions to keep in mind as we go through this video. I suggest you write down in your notebook pointers that you can use later on when you begin to develop your lesson plan for this age group. Knowing about the physical shifts that are taking place at this age, what wow lesson can we teach about all these shifts? How do you think, as the mindfulness meditation teacher, you can help the teen get more comfortable with these shifts? Some things to think about are, which techniques could you use for every issue and every situation? How would you present them in a user-friendly way to our teens? Teens spend most of their puberty years trying to settle in the physical and emotional changes that are happening to them during their journey into adulthood. We can help them to become aware without leveling any judgment, only acceptance, acknowledgement, and wow, I am becoming an adult. My body is fascinating how it is doing this shift all by itself. This is what mindfulness is all about. Addressing sexuality. Sexuality needs to be addressed when you feel the class is ready for it. Let's normalize it. Sexuality is a very important and natural aspect of human existence. The degree of love and trust, the degree of success in bonding with their caregivers and peers at a younger stage of their development will provide the security and set up the foundation of relating to the opposite sex at this very important stage in a comfortable way. When you are developing your lesson plans, ask yourself, how can we take the awkwardness out of the romance thing, the I have feelings for that person thing? The awkwardness is about the physical body as it feels and seems to look so foreign. Hormones are kicking in and things are changing rapidly, both physically and emotionally. In all this confusion, the physical and emotional part of them is maturing, and it can get very overwhelming. How can we normalize it and make it okay? Make it a wow thing for our youth in transition. Here are some questions that we can pose in class for discussion, or have a silent reflection on them quietly in a personal reflection journal. Note, when we start to do our sexual discussion work with our teens, make sure you get permission from the parents. We'll call it wow lessons in procreation, because that is exactly what sex is. It is a continuation of the species, Every species procreates. I would suggest that you call up the parents and let them know the topic for discussion, or send a permission slip home with the child before getting into these lessons. The following questions are for you to develop a list of issues that you can work on during this mindfulness meditation course with your students. Questions to reflect on around sexuality are: what is sexuality? Here, bring home the point of keeping the species going to normalize it. With which aspect of sexuality do you feel comfortable? With which aspect of sexuality do you feel uncomfortable? How do you reach a decision about romance? Is it comfortable for you? If not, why not? If it is, why so? How can you, as their teacher, pave the way for wow lessons on the wonderful purpose of romance? Let us move from questions about sexuality to questions to reflect around social comfort. When did you attend your last social function? Who did you go with, and how did you feel? Did you feel you had to use drugs or alcohol to feel comfortable? No judgment here. Let's just let them discover the truth about themselves. This is the mindful way. How can we give opportunities for our teens to socialize and discover the romantic side of themselves in a fun, accepting, non-judgmental, and healthy way? How can you help them to get socially comfortable? Let us now move to questions around developing their autonomy and self-confidence. In what areas of your life do you feel most comfortable trusting your own decisions? What are your strengths? What have you discovered you are good at? What do you feel you still need a little work on? If your students do not want to ask these questions out loud to the group, you can give them anonymous index cards for them to write their questions, and then you can pull up a card with the question on it to open a group discussion. After much discussion, you can then ask, what mindfulness meditation technique would be helpful in regard to the issue being discussed? As their teacher, keep in mind throughout our discussions that you, as the mindfulness meditation teacher, will help create knowledge and understanding of how to get into balance by using the mindfulness and meditation techniques they have learned in this course for everything that can take them out of balance. Let's review the techniques. Where would you suggest each of the following techniques? The stop technique, the external environment discovery and mindfulness using the senses technique, internal environment discovery and mindfulness of the physical energy, awareness and balance, emotional energy, awareness and balance, our mental energy, awareness and balance, our intellectual energy, awareness and balance, our spiritual energy, awareness, which means arriving at the sanctuary each one of us has inside. Go into your peaceful place, your wisdom, your joy, your okayness. Mantra repeating technique, a soothing word or phrase like peace, relax, focus. Affirmations, Jyoti meditation, Yama and Niyamas, which means what energy we can control and what we don't need to control in our lives. All of these mindfulness meditation techniques are designed to empower the spirit to feel more and more okay, more and more in balance. Things to keep in mind when doing your lesson plans. Set up social interaction opportunities for the teens. Give opportunities to practice mindfulness meditation techniques as they discover how to overcome the awkwardness of getting to know a person they may have feelings for. Set up a safe place in your lesson plan where students openly share about their struggles. As they share, ask them, which mindfulness or meditation technique do you think may help with this? Let them self-discover to develop autonomy. You are teaching them how they can use these techniques to help themselves every step of the way. Here is some more information about the emotional mindfulness technique. The way to balance our emotions, all our feelings, is to first accept them. Second, acknowledge them without judgment. Third, celebrate them. Wow, this is awesome. I never knew I could feel this way. And fourth, express them in an effective way. As their teacher, you can help your adolescent student to move their feelings from a sense of overwhelm, which may lead to give me a drink or drug or anything to numb myself because I can't handle all these feelings, to being able to cope with them by teaching them to do the following. Mindfully go and visit your emotions. Hang out with them. Get to know them as friends. Mindfully accepting them without any judgment. It's not good or bad. It's not wrong or right. It just is. Mindfully acknowledge it for what it is. Enjoy it. Wow, this is awesome. Then bring it into balance by expressing it, whether you do so by writing in a journal, writing a song, writing a poem, or expressing it through a work of art or dance. These are some expressing emotion activities. Movement activity could be have the student bring in a song that expresses how they feel and let them play the song in the next class and dance to it. Those who want to dance can dance along. Others who just want to listen can listen. Expressing emotions through drawing activity. Bring paper and coloring pencils and let the students express themselves through drawing. Expressing emotions through writing activity. Write a poem activity. This could be a lot of fun. Get students into groups of 4 and let them compile a poem about a certain emotional struggle. Finally, talking about it with peers and with you, their teacher. Facilitating the discussion so they feel safe is very helpful to get in touch with the emotion and process it effectively. During discussion, you may need to help your adolescent understand and deal with the moodiness caused by the hormones that they have not experienced before. This may show up as anxiety or depression. Moodiness may also be caused by low blood sugar, so have some healthy snacks on hand. Teens are sometimes too busy to eat well, and they live on junk food. Working on anxiety with our teens, help your students to balance the feelings of anxiousness that they are feeling by being scared they are making a mistake. Remind them, mistakes are how we learn. Mistakes are how we learn useful lessons. They are not wrong or right, not good or bad. They are just lessons to learn. Remember, Edison, the guy who invented the light bulb, failed 99 times before he got it right. And each time he failed, he wrote down, "I have learned this is not the way." Finally, by learning 99 times what does not work, he found out what did work. Anxiety can also be about making a fool of oneself. Remind them, everyone is in the same boat, so they will be safe exploring all this in this group. Lessen the anxiety by creating a safe place to share and grow. Working on depression with our teens, we understand that depression comes when teens get so overwhelmed that they just want to give up. They don't care anymore. Let us reflect on depression. How will you help your student to cope with depression? Let us suggest a commitment to tapas. The niyama in lesson 2 says, cultivate the habit of doing everything the best that you can, especially the things that you are afraid of or don't want to do. This is the remedy to get someone out of laziness and depression. The suggested affirmation here could be, I am going to do this, and I'm going to do this the best that I can. This brings us to, how will you teach the teens the yamas and niyamas and get them excited about adopting their wisdom into their characters and temperament for a peaceful life? How will you help them to develop affirmations to support their commitments to the yamas and niyamas? Let us move now to working on healthy relationships. Foremost, how will you, as the teacher, help the student to work on developing a healthy relationship with their own self? How will you help them develop healthy relationships with peers? These are also very important. How can we help our teens develop healthy relationships with a romantic partner? Take a few moments at this time to reflect on the class discussion so far. Jot down how you, as their mindfulness meditation teacher, are going to teach healthy relationships with friends and romantic interests. Finally, healthy relationships with adults are also very important for our youth. Let's talk about the need to individuate. This means every human needs to be left alone to explore themselves and find out who they truly are. Personality-wise, temperament-wise, their skills and passions, and their weaknesses. To do this, they need space and room to explore themselves, to make mistakes, to try things on, to see what does not work, and to find out what does work. When the adult in the teen's life is always telling them what to do, how to behave, how to navigate their life, making them do things how they would like them done, and then do it the adult's way, it robs the teen of their individuation process. The overzealous adult in their life replaces the teen's autonomous explorations with who the adult wants them to be and how the adult wants them to behave and what the adult wants their own passion to be. This can cause a lot of confusion, overwhelm, anxiety, and depression. The developing young adult can totally lose their way as they try to please the adult. The teen will land up feeling really bad that the adult does not like who they authentically are. Is there something wrong with my authentic me? They seem to need me to be something different in order to please them. In these cases, you might find the teen begins to get depressed or rebel and want to feel better by going against the adult and using drugs and alcohol. A strong-willed teen will individuate by rebelling. This is all part of the journey into adulthood and becoming their own person. If our teens are to be emotionally healthy, the adult in the teen's life need to take a step back from telling the teen what to do and how to behave, and instead make suggestions. Adults can do this by phrasing everything you want to express to the teen as a choice or suggestion, and let them make their own decision on how they respond to your suggestions. Let them learn to become their own adult by making their own choices. They will learn by the consequences of their actions. At this age, consequences become their best teacher. In this course, we can teach them how to respect the adult's needs, but do it in their own way. Reflect on how we can do this. Do you feel you may need to coach the parents too? What do you think? During the adolescent stage of life, relationships with parents, teachers, coaches, and mentors is important in order to learn new life skills. How can we help our teens to develop healthy relationships with the adults in their lives? We can do this by teaching another ahimsa iMessage technique, which empowers our teens to say the following script. Notice all the iMessages. You can count them if you want. We are empowering the teen to let others know what they need. Here goes. I hear what you are saying. I need to do it my own way. I would prefer if you would let me discover for myself, and if I should make a mistake, that you would trust that I have the wisdom to see my mistake and make a different choice. I am okay with you pointing out to me what you feel is a mistake and giving me some of your wisdom, but I would prefer if you let me use your wisdom in my own way. Let me figure it out for myself. This is how I grow. in self-confidence, self-esteem, and how I learn about how to navigate my adult world. I appreciate you understanding my need. Teens need a coach through this stage, and you can make a tremendous difference by being that coach. Let them practice doing these I messages in class until they find the right wording that will work for them and make saying them easy, comfortable, and effortless. Saying no. Unwanted sex is a touchy subject that must be addressed at this age. How will you empower your teen to feel 100% confident to say no to sex if they do not feel it's appropriate or they do not want it? Furthermore, for that matter, how will you empower teens to say no to anything that is not healthy for them? Now that we have discussed all of these needs for our teens, let's begin to design our lesson plans. In our lesson plans, let us explore the physical awkwardness with them. Physical awkwardness shows up when one thinks or says things like, I don't like my body, it's too fat, it's too thin, I'm not sexy enough, things like that. I feel uncomfortable when I'm with a person who is attracted to me. How will we use mindfulness and meditation to help them with this? How can we use our class time to help them with this? Let us now move from physical awkwardness to exploring the idea of dependency on others. When a teen has not been given the room to individuate, dependency on others is the result. It is the felt sense of not having enough self-power. Often people experiencing dependency say to themselves, I have a hard time trusting my own wisdom, and I rely on others to tell me what to do. Dependency is when you completely lose sight of what you want and need, and instead go with another's opinion because you feel a lack of trust in your own wisdom and begin to value the other person's opinion more. While we must teach our teens to learn from others, we must also teach them that their unique opinion is very valued. And at the end of the day, it is their life. They need to do what is comfortable for them. How will we use mindfulness and meditation to help them with this? How can we use our class time to help them with this? When a teen is not given room to individuate, it can cause a lot of anxiety and depression. Let's explore anxiety. This is a big issue with teens nowadays. Some types of anxiety that teenagers may be experiencing are social anxiety. Social anxiety is experienced when someone thinks or says things like this. I feel nervous in social situations. Will I be accepted? Will I fit in? Will they like me? Things like that. How will we use mindfulness and meditation to help them with this? How can we use our class time to help them with this? How will we deal with anxiety attacks using the mindfulness and meditation techniques? Let us now move from anxiety to explore depression with our teenagers. Depression is a feeling of giving up or I don't care anymore. Explore depression with our students. Why do we get depressed? How can we use the class time to discover mindfulness and meditation techniques to overcome depression? I would like to remind us here that when practicing any of the mindfulness and meditation techniques, we can overcome both anxiety and depression because the peaceful place they bring us to moves both of those energies, anxiety and depression, into balance. Let's now talk about how to wrap up each class. Wrap up each class by focusing on the strengths that your students have gained by going through the things that are awkward and uncomfortable in your class. Also, let them share how they overcame those things, or they can share something that happened at home or in their lives and how they overcame that. Guide them to reflect on how that incident has taught them some very powerful life skills that they needed to learn as they move into their adult lives. Make it a wow moment for them. For homework, we have another very interesting research assignment for you. Erik Erikson describes the psychosocial development of a teen from ages 13 to 21 as identity versus role confusion. What does this mean? So, enjoy creating your lesson plans for teens and this research assignment. Bye for now. I'll see you again in our final wrap-up video.